The discussions that emerged in the wake of Ferguson have resurfaced over the past year several times. From Michael Brown in Missouri to the deaths of other unarmed black men in New York and Baltimore, and the massacre of 9 people in an African Methodist Episcopal church in Charleston, race relations remain fresh in our minds. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm David Oliver. Over the next hour, we invite you to hear how race is perceived in our own Ozarks community. We're going to talk about public safety, business, our faith, and our children's education. We start by digging deeper to see what we've learned about our country and ourselves. Why was Ferguson so polarizing? Why did it divide our country along racial lines once again?
I think all the inequality and the injustice had simmered in Ferguson for so long that it was kind of like a powder keg that just exploded.
You have one of those moments in America where we are reminded of how stark the polarity is between the way the African American population saw that event and the way many white Americans saw that.
In Ferguson, an unarmed black male, Michael Brown, is shot and killed by a white officer, Darren Wilson. What really happened that day in August is still a matter of heated and emotional debate.
There's a lot of talking but no listening. And this case here exploded, evidently just touching the fever at the right time.
Investigations began, a grand jury convened. No matter what nugget of news came out, nobody listened to one another. Cable TV debated the smallest details endlessly. Social media exploded with conflict.
Things spin out of control very quickly with inaccurate, incomplete information or just flat out bogus information.
Everyone knew about Ferguson. If you'd never heard of Ferguson, Missouri, you did after a couple of days.
Ultimately, Officer Wilson is cleared of wrongdoing. So why did Ferguson set America back and reopen scars? Some called Michael Brown a thug who disrespected the law. Darren Wilson was a cop fighting for his life.
It's always been a dangerous profession.
Really was not the ideal young black man that they thought they would like to make out he was.
Others saw the vestiges of historical racism reignited.
The perception of many black people was that justice is not going to be done. Justice won't be done when there's a situation involving a cop and a black person.
All too often, there are these tragic situations occur which seem to the African American community to demonstrate that nothing much has changed.
Race relations, the black-white issue, is not something we have resolved or probably ever going to resolve in your or my lifetime. And we tend to, we make inroads and we've made progress in that, but it is still an underlying issue in the United States.
This is what democracy looks like!
And the issue erupted on the streets of Ferguson. Riots, looting, military-style police, tear gas. It quickly ignited a national debate while the world watched on live TV. Amazingly, there was no loss of life in Ferguson during the protests, no loss of life during those first days of the rioting in August, and no loss of life after the grand jury announcement in November. But what loss did our country endure?
We don't remember history well. I think for white Americans, we are quick to say, well, we dealt with that stuff. For African Americans, all too often, they have forgotten the legacy of people like Rosa Parks, who responded to pure evil with resolve and with graciousness, and paid a price that subsequent generations have forgotten.
Now that Ferguson has passed, other incidents continue to reignite these strong passions. The fatal chokehold of a black man by police in New York. The fatal shooting of a teen by Cleveland police pointing a toy gun made to look like a real gun.